Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM.
All right, it's Desert Island Discs, bigger and better now at the palm top of your hands and soon on the TV channel next to you. Welcome to the program where we share life stories from ordinary folks, but with extraordinary life stories. And I tell you what, these folks distinguish themselves in more ways than one. On the program this evening, I have the pleasure to host yet another Chief Executive Officer. Dennis Kahindi is now a Chief Executive Officer of a company that has been around for quite some time, although it decided recently to change its identity. Welcome to the program. You'll be telling us the identity that you've now assumed and what you were called as a company, and then we get down to your life stories.
Thank you so much, Simon. Very, very happy to be here.
How are you keeping?
I'm keeping very well. I'm keeping very, very well in the circumstances.
What are the circumstances? Okay, we're changing of names and all that. Tell us about something a bit about that.
Yeah, the changing of names is something that was really long overdue. Now, I had Liquid Intelligent Technologies. That's the new brand that we've identified ourselves as.
Okay, at least it didn't change to Solid, but
No,
we're still
not to solid. So Liquid Intelligent Technologies has had a journey in Uganda of about 22 years this year. It started off as a marriage between two distinct companies, one called Starcom, the other called Infomail. They formed a company called Infocom. Obviously, Infocom, Starcom, Infomail. Yeah. It ran as Infocom for about 12, 13 years until Liquid Telecom then acquired it. Now, Liquid Telecom acquired it in about 2007. Rebranded it to Liquid Telecom. Joined Liquid Telecom 2 years ago and been part of the rebrand into Liquid Intelligent Technologies.
So you're the guy that's really behind all this, and maybe the question would be, why?
The question of the why, like I said at the launch, I don't know whether you caught a bit of that. The story was, we've done everything technology, but we've been known for everything telecom. So we're saying because telecom is just a subsection of that technology business, let's get to be known for who we really are. And that is an intelligent technology company. And that's what we are now.
Great. That's a nice way to enter into this whole thing. So now it will be our pleasure to get to know the real life of a CEO, or the making of a CEO. In this regard, not just the CEO of an ordinary startup here or there, but a CEO of an intelligent technology company. Yes. Blue chip in its best, as we can have it. So, Dennis Kahindi, who are you? Where were you born? To whom were you born?
Okay. Dennis Kahindi's story starts in 1978.
That's recent.
I was born to a lady called Rose Bauna and a gentleman called Samuel Kahindi. Samuel Kahindi is from Shema in Kabohe. Our village is called Rutoma. We're very, very proud Rutoma people, very proud Shema people. So that's where my story started.
Is that where you were actually born, or that's where your parents originate?
That's where my parents originate. My silent middle name is Mishozi. I was born in Kabale, actually, in the hills of Kabale. Obviously, that's where the Mishozi name comes up.
So, like, what took your parents to have you in Kabale?
I have absolutely no idea what took them to have me, but I'm sure.
Was it so bad that they had to go to the hills?
Kabale is hilly, so I'm not sure they were in the hills. I'm sure they were somewhere in Kabale. Yeah, but I think they were both working in Kabale, and that's where that story started.
What were they doing?
My dad was a lecturer at Kabale College of Commerce, I believe, way then.
Which now is a university.
Which now I'm told is a university, Kabale University, I'm told. And my mom was in the postal services, so she was one of those. She was doing what Facebook does for us now, extending people's messages from one end.
Only at the speed. I don't compare it.
You don't want to compare speed. No, don't even try to go there. Don't even try to go there. Totally.
But what a distinguished job it was. That means that you had a set of busy parents. One imparting knowledge, the other one moving mail and information.
Extending services.
Absolutely. Yeah. What about you? Were you an only child, middle child, firstborn? In this homestead,
that's a very complex question for me. I usually call them tranches. So I'm I'm a middle child of a couple of tranches.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have lots of siblings. I have my Kahindi siblings are about 6, and my mom's siblings are about 5. So am I a lone child? I'm a middle child.
You're a middle child in there.
In both tranches, I want to say, yes.
Well, that's a very interesting one. But taking us back to your childhood, the best of your recollection,
Yes.
in that Kabari home where you were brought up, but with busy parents and all that. So what do you remember best or most about your childhood?
What do I remember most? My recollection of my childhood, I think, starts around 1985. Yeah,
That's 7 years after you were born.
Yeah, that's about 6 years after I'm born. And because my recollection then starts around school. We got back to Kampala around that time. And I started school about that time.
Which was also a strange Kampala that you were
Which was a very,
returning
very
to.
strange Kampala in 1985. The safest place to be anywhere was the police barracks. And that's where I went to school. So I went to school. I started school in Zambia Police Barracks. That's why I started nursery. I don't know whether that nursery school is still there. I
You need to pay it a visit.
Yeah, I need to.
We also have to be very sure that the barracks is still where it is.
The barracks is still there. I've passed there a few times. Okay, what looks like what it used to be. Yeah, in 1985. But that's why I started school. And between 1985 and 1987, I think I did about 6 schools. So I went to Zambia Police Barracks Primary School. I went to St. Peter's Primary School right
Zambia.
there across the road in Zambia. Then I went to Nakasero Primary School. Then I went to Matale Primary School. Then I went to Namiryango Junior, and that's where I settled.
Yeah. Clearly you could see the elevation. I mean, it was like taking you from a police cell to somewhere in Makshon Bay, then Maximum Prison, then Kitaria.
I don't know. I've not been to any of those. Hopefully, I never will.
Well, you already had your share in those primary schools.
I already had my share. So that's where my school life started. So I had about 5 schools.
Anything that best explains why you were being moved from one school to the other? Was it about
our
you?
Safety. No, it was really around our safety.
I thought it was about your conduct.
No. That time was a very dangerous time to be alive, and anything to keep you alive. So all the schools that I went to, the reason why I went to all the schools is my parents thought that was the safest place to be as a child in a very, very uncertain 1985 to 1987 time.
But then there you meet boys who are like you, also being, pushed away into safety in those places. Perhaps also children of parents who were involved in the politics of the day. And there was quite a bit of, colleagues getting out of school, disappearing, going to exile with their parents and all that. Do you remember a bit about that?
Yeah, so I remember, it's in Namiryango Junior that I started to study with. I think we had about 4 or 5 kids whose parents were ministers. Chive Ginger had a couple of kids there. There is a couple of other ministers who had their kids there. There was a minister of State for Defense who had a son there, and it was very comforting knowing that you're studying with the children of the people in power. So that made it very, very safe. So Namiryango, that's when my real academic life really started.
On the program, we play our music. We're going to play your first song. We'll invite you to play it for us.
Okay.
When we return, then we'll look at your academic journey, but also most importantly, what it is that you wanted to or thought could be in the future as you studied.
Okay, good. I'll start with my first song, The Gambler.
Kenny Rogers?
Kenny Rogers, The Gambler. Yeah, that's a song that I really identify with, and the reason I identify with that song is it teaches you real life lessons. Know when to walk, know when to sit, know when to deal a hand, and all.
Do you sometimes take a turn on the turntables?
No, I have done that before. I realize it's a vice that I can't sustain.
What about Russian roulette?
I can't sustain anything outside of my golf skills. I only gamble on those. Yeah.
Well, later on we'll be finding out a bit about his music taste, but let's take The Gambler for what it is. He chooses it out of its lyrical value and the fact that it teaches real life lessons. I hope it does for you and I. Let's be back. It's Desert Island Discs.
Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM.
Welcome back. It's Desert Island Discs. Dennis Kahindi, the CEO of what used to be Liquid Telecom, now Liquid Intelligent Technologies, sharing with us his life story. And in it, the making of a CEO. So Dennis, here you are, marshaled off to several primary schools, all in pursuit of safety. That's on the side of your parents. But for you, perhaps in pursuit of what you would have wished to be a career.
Yeah.
So in school, just school times, or favorite subjects, extracurricular activities, if at all.
Okay. Like every normal child growing up in our times, I think we all desired at one point to be pilots. Yeah, maybe that was because none of us had ever flown a plane. And probably none of our parents had flown a plane as frequently as we hoped they would. And so I wanted
All we did was fly kites.
Yeah, all we did was to fly kites. So I wanted to be a pilot. I didn't know what that took. I never pursued that beyond the thought. and then, of course, going through school, did I have any favorite subjects? No, I didn't have any favorite subjects. I think
You were just wilding.
I just sailed through most of them. I didn't have major problems until I got to O level, where I had a real fight with chemistry. Yeah, despite the fact that my parents wanted me to be a doctor.
And here you are staring at the periodic table and
I'm
all
looking
these
at
elements.
these letters and numbers which make,
Substances.
and I use that very, very loosely, make no sense even up to now. Yeah.
Why would Na, for example, be sodium?
I don't know. Yeah. So I never appreciated chemistry.
Why would potassium be a K?
At least you have recollections of some of this. Yeah. Yeah. But I got so my parents wanted me to be a doctor.
Iron, Fe.
Iron Fe. Interesting. That I wouldn't recall. Potassium, yes, I remember. Yeah, but not Fe for iron. So I get into secondary school in St. Henry's College, Chitovo. And my mom insists that she wants me to be a doctor. So that's the most secure career there is. But I say, okay, for your benefit, let me try it. So for 2 terms...
But for you, what did you really want?
I wanted to be a lawyer.
Now.
And thank God I did become a lawyer. Yeah.
You'll be telling us why. Then.
Yeah. But, so I did 2 terms of PCB in Chitovo. And then I realized that with my normal 16 points, that was good enough in PCB. But the guys in arts were getting 24, 25, 26 points. And I thought it doesn't make any sense. If these subjects are supposed to be equal, then I should be able to get 24 points.
But that would mean no sleep.
I don't know. I mean, if we have the same brains, then we should be able to get the same. So I sat down and had a conversation with my mom. I said, it's not going to work. I've done your part. I've done 2 terms of this PCB thing.
That's physics, chemistry, biology.
I said, now, and sub-math, by the way.
Oh,
I said, you know what? This ends here. I've done my part for you. I want to be a doctor. So let me go and try to pursue my law career.
What was the relationship between you and your parents in the sense of being able to speak to them about your whims and fancies? Because let's not forget, around the time you were socialized and raised,
yes,
our parents decided what
they wanted me to be.
As opposed to now when our children decide what they want to be. And we listen.
Just about the age of 13, 14, 15. I think I got into my real element, and I became a very rebellious child, and I would do exactly the opposite of what anyone told me.
Wow!
If if you told me not to go out of school, not to escape,
that's what exactly you would go out.
Exactly what I would do, but just don't talk about it. Then it won't matter. So at that point, when I got into that rebellious trick, I started to be confident enough to have conversations with my parents around what I think I want to be. Most of the times, I was very opinionated and very eccentric at that. Yeah, and it was, I was their child, so they got to understand that this is what you guys got yourselves.
And besides, I'm sure mangoes don't fall from apple trees.
No, they don't.
So they possibly had an idea who you were.
They had an idea what was coming. So that's what happened. So that's why we're having that conversation. So when I went to A level, I decided to pursue the LD, which was the sure way to law school.
History. economics, literature, and divinity.
Yeah, it was a sure way to law school. Unfortunately for me, I got expelled at the start of the exams. I was expelled for I don't know what. I think.
No, you would certainly remember, Dennis. But
I wouldn't remember. I had so many alterations in school, so I don't remember that.
Which particular one laid you out? But one thing is for sure.
I think it was. I think escape from school. Yeah, I think I decided.
Not billows of smoke coming out of your side of the dormitory.
That was kind of official. But I think I was expelled because I chose to go and have an Easter break at home, yet was supposed to be in school preparing for exams. It made no sense. I mean, it's an Easter holiday. Why should I stay in school? So they denied us the chance to go home.
You took the chance?
I decided, no, I mean, that's my right. And I went and I enjoyed my right. And then...
You returned to an expulsion?
Returned to an expulsion, which was okay. I didn't have a problem. I don't regret it.
Okay. You seem to be a kind of guy that comfortably will press the self-destruction button, and because it's your decision, you take it with grace.
Yes.
So when you were expelled, that ended your journey of education?
No, it didn't. My parents told me to find myself a school.
Where to sit exams?
Where to sit exams.
But you had been registered with this school.
Yes, and they told me I'm not sitting exams there.
What?
And trust me, I found myself a school.
That allowed you to transfer the index number
to them and complete my exams here.
Let's play the next song. When we return, you tell us which school that was and which school makes that kind of, self-destructing.
With the kind of results that I had.
It was the best decision they took. I know.
I think, in retrospect, maybe it was a good thing that I was expelled.
Wow. Yeah. Next song.
My next song, based on the story that we just said, had a conversation about will be Full Again by Westlife.
So again, now we begin to understand that your choice of music is largely about the lyrical value as opposed to the tune.
Yes.
Anybody ever accused you of being a good dancer?
I used to be. When I was a kid, I used to dance for money.
We're not talking about folk dances.
No, I used to dance for my parents and aunties, and they would pay me money. So I guess it was because I was a good dancer.
Well, we don't know about their taste of good dance, but let's play this wonderful song. Full Again, you'll be telling us why you chose this song, yes. But clearly we now know from the lyrics what it is that you were trying to insinuate. We'll be right back. It's Desert Island Discs. Dennis Kahindi sharing it with us, his life story.
Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM.
Welcome back. It's Desert Island Discs, and what a conversation it is that we're having with Dennis Kahindi here, who is, well, interesting personality, rebellious as a young man. We don't know whether anything has changed since then, but clearly here he is, a CEO of an intelligent technology company, clearly with his faculty properly inserted in his head, that's properly screwed on his shoulders. So, who was this that decided to take you in at the 11th and a half hour?
The 11th and a half hour, it was Bishop Sister Mazolidi.
In Kajas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they did me a great favor. Yeah.
I thought they wouldn't, considering that you had been expelled by a brothers' school.
Yes.
And there are also a Brothers of Christian Instruction School.
Yeah. I think they admitted me for very selfish reasons.
Well, if this guy has been from the other school, he possibly still has what it is in his head.
I don't think I disappointed them. I think they had a winner in me.
But tell me, it's interesting to know that an 18, 16, 17, most 19-year-old walks up to a school, finds an adult as a headmaster or an academic administrator with an expulsion letter, and you actually negotiate your way into getting admitted.
Yes. Someone, I didn't tell you that my first job was at the age of 16 in my senior fallback.
What job was that?
I was a shop attendant somewhere on Kampala Road. So I would walk to that shop every single day to go and work.
From where?
From Kasubi. That's where we used to stay. And I quit that job very, very shortly for a better paying job. Yeah, as a pool table attendant at a TLC bar. Yeah, very shortly after that. So I had a feel about me.
Incredible marketing skills.
Maybe not just marketing skills. I knew that life had dealt me a certain hand, and I needed to win with that hand that it gave me. I was not going to wait for life to come to me. I went to life, and that's exactly the same disposition I went to. That headmaster, we said, you know what, you have a winner in me. Just give me a chance. Let me sit here, and you won't be disappointed with the results that I'll give you.
With full disclosure of what you had done?
Exactly. I said I was expelled, and I was expelled for going home to enjoy an Easter holiday.
Which I thought I needed, otherwise I was breaking down.
Which was my right. And driving here this morning, I learned that court, I think, has ruled that the Muslim kids can't be doing UNEB exams during Eid. Yeah, so, court is, 30 years late? So, so my decision of 30 years ago was vindicated yesterday.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. And so they say, okay, come in, you sit your examinations.
Yeah, I sit my examinations, and
pass.
And then I switched my mind around doing law. Yeah, when I was expelled from school, I said, okay, now these guys expect me to be going to do law, and law was second rate to mass communication at that point. So I got the points that got me to mass communication class and not law school. So I went and did mass communication.
Which was a notch higher.
Which was a notch higher, yeah, which was a notch higher at the time. And again, I don't regret the fact that I did that, the mass communication, because it taught me quite a bit. And that was the foundation of the degree to whom
all this is coming up. But most guys who do mass comm want to or end up like me, but see your life.
Yes, and I was a bit like you. Again, during my mass comm, in my first year of mass comm, again, I went to Sanyo FM and I told them, you guys, I'm studying mass communication and I need a job here.
You just stormed the radio station?
Yeah, I stormed. There was a guy called Richard Malone. They told me, but you're hardly in your second year. I said, yeah, but that's exactly what school is about. Give me a job as a journalist. And I started to look for stories. I covered the 17-day commission for Sanyo FM while I was in my first or second year in my career. That was a job which was paying me 5,000 shillings per story.
Wow.
Again, that's the making of me. Yeah, those are some of the decisions that I made in my life, and I said, maybe that's where my journey, I never said that that's where my career journey started, just like it didn't start at that shop on Kampala Road or at the pool table at TLC, but that has been the
part of the journey.
And
it's the milestones that
those major milestones that I decided. I woke up and I said, if I'm going to be good at this, then I need to begin working now.
So what was the choice for that particular radio station and not another and another? Was it proximity to where you were? Was it largely fancy of what you loved here?
It was the most popular station then, but also it was the most popular station then, but also it's the one that I thought about quickest. I said, Sanyo, let me go to Sanyo and try to get a job. And I did. And I got myself a job.
So tell me, whatever you have touched, the touch turns into gold. Or are you just telling us the things that have worked and not those that you have tried a hand on and they haven't worked?
There are quite a number of things that haven't worked. Yeah, like I just shared with you that my first job as a shop attendant, it didn't work, so I quit quickly.
No, but at least you first had the job.
Yeah, I first had the job.
There is an attempt that hasn't materialized. Like you walked to somebody for a job and you turned away.
Yeah, that's. I've been turned away. I've been turned away a few times for jobs. I remember when I finished school, I wanted to get a corporate job, and I wrote so many application letters. I still have them in my Yahoo inbox, and I look at them.
You threw them all over this town.
Yeah, some of the guys who interviewed me, I've interviewed them a few times. Some of them work with me. Yeah, some of them have worked with me. But it's all part of life. Certain things didn't work out. The one that got away, I think, was MTN, and that hurt me the most because I was denied a job because I wasn't married. I didn't have responsibilities, so I wasn't married. That's why I was denied a job. So that was painful.
After that, you went and married like twice, just to be sure.
That was painful. That was painful. How do you deny someone a job because he's not married? But yeah.
What was the job anyway? Was it to be a marriage counselor?
No. I was supposed to be a regional sales manager somewhere for MTN. And during the interview panel, I was told, they asked me, are you married? I said, no, not married. said, so you don't know how to deal with responsibility. I said, what has that got to do with it? Well, I got married shortly after.
And again, just so that you...
and again. I've been married 4 times now. I'll be married for my 5th.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting, But campus life before you play the next song?
Yeah, okay.
How was it for you?
Campus
Blasted
life.
away like crazy, like all.
Campus life. So I got into campus with this mentality that nobody gets to campus and fails. Yeah, at least the average block doesn't fail. The guys who are...
You need to be really bad.
You need to be really, really bad. So once I got that into my mind, that you need to be really, really bad to fail, I realized that there was nothing to work for at campus. It was basic. I was going to pass anyway.
You were just wilding
so I
through
lived my life, and I lived a crazy, crazy kind of life. Enjoyed my campus life.
You had a bit of money. I mean, you were working. Your voice would be heard on TV, on radio.
I was doing research for my classmates, and they were paying me good money for their research. I had a job at SANU. Yeah, so I had a little money. And guess what? I was also on campus. I was also a barman at Rock Bar. I was a barman at Rock Bar. Okay, well, that lasted 2 weeks. I was fired.
What, you drank your own mix?
No.
After doing a good mixology cocktail.
I was fired for sleeping on the job. Literally. So I would get to work at about 6 p.m. and
having had a whole day with Sanyu FM and a bit of class.
So get to work, get to Rock Bar, and I began to do the mixes and giving guys all the beers and the alcohol. And then I went to take a nap at about 11, about an hour. My supervisor phoned me and fired me.
Right there,
told me pack up and leave. Yeah, but I'm a former barman at Rock Bar.
Wow, what a story.
Yeah.
What took you there in the first place? The pursuit of money or the love for alcohol?
The pursuit for money. Yeah, it was the pursuit for money. Yeah, it was very, very easy money. I was making an average of 400,000 Uganda shillings in tips every single day. Yeah? So trust me, in 2 weeks I made enough money
to go and open up another bar, maybe.
Not to open up another bar, to enjoy the rest of my campus life. Yeah.
400,000 in night.
In tips, yeah.
Guys must have really liked you.
Guys were tipping really good. Rock Bar was on fire then.
You should have gone back after about 2 weeks with a different identity.
Maybe. I didn't think about it. Maybe I still had enough money to go back.
Let's play your next song.
Yeah. My next song, okay. My next song is going to be dedicated to my wife. It's a Don Williams song. It's called I've Got a Winner in You.
Is this about the time you meet your wife at the university or thereabout, or much later in your life?
Much later in my life. But when I'm talking about my life story, she's been the sparkle. She's been that little dynamite that set this mountain on fire. Yeah, and as soon as she came into my life, I think many pieces fell into place. She came into my life around 2008. I married her shortly after. We've had 4 amazing children.
And still counting.
Maybe not counting anymore. We think we're done counting. We've been counting a long time. So we're not counting anymore. So I got a winner in Ken Rogers. This goes to my wife, Easy. This is for you and our beautiful children.
What more can I say? Let's be back so that Easy can enjoy her song easily. We'll be right back into Desert Island Discs.
Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM.
I've got a winner in you. No way I can lose. A love I can hold on to. I've got a winner in you.
All right, Desert Island Discs and Dennis Kahindi sharing with us a very interesting life story of the things that he's been able to do. Shopkeeper, pool attendant, barman, news reporter. What else? Yeah, a muchuba for, campus guys who do not want to actually do the exams or research. He was in there for you. I mean, being a CEO doesn't come easily. It must be out of blast furnace. But here you are. Your life story has been well decorated with quite a bit of blasting on one end, but also real hard work on the other. Yeah. Is that still the mantra in your life today? Yeah,
so I mean, the hard work beat, and that's where maybe my professional story gets a bit more relevant. My professional life starts in 2001. 2002. I think I was working with Bushnet, and there is a friend of mine who handheld me.
How did you get into Bushnet? Because I mean, let's not forget, you are at the university, you're a journalist.
Yeah.
Just got fired from the club.
So we're done with campus. Now we're done with campus, and then this friend of mine gets a job as a salesman at an internet service provider then called Bushnet. Mm-hmm. He gets there and they ask him, can you refer other people? It's like, guys, you think I'm good at this stuff? There is a guy that you guys will need. Bring him on. I get the job as sales executive. That's about 2003, I believe, right after campus. So Terry Alinde, if you're listening, and I just want to say thank you. My journey started with your steps. Yeah, so that's where I started. So I worked at Bushnet for about 5 years ago.
Selling stuff that which was a novel thing.
It was very novel. It was very novel. We're selling 32 kilobytes, which
can barely.
People can't even
send a tweet with it.
They can't even send a tweet with the 32 kilobytes. We're selling
and you were selling
$250.
And you were selling it as the fastest thing that ever happened to humanity.
The fastest thing ever. And we did very well. I grew into sales manager. Terry gets a job at Huawei and again tells them, guys, you need a guy. Yeah, I've seen what you guys do here. There is a guy that you need here with you. Bring this guy. So somehow they headhunt me. He was my headhunter. He would go there.
Fast, clear the way.
Clear the way and say, Dennis, come in. So I joined Huawei then. Terry left me for Alcatel. I didn't join him at Alcatel. I went to Orange, left Orange, went to Eaton Towers, left Eaton Towers, went to Microsoft. I did 4 years in Microsoft.
This was in Uganda, we're talking about Palo Alto? In California.
The Uganda bit has kind of just returned. So that's in Nairobi, based out of Nairobi, managing Rwanda and Uganda as their country manager
for Microsoft.
Yeah. Microsoft, and then I did 4 years there, left Microsoft, joined Oracle.
But you're taking us pretty very quick.
But speed.
Let's take it step by step. I mean, don't move us like fast internet connection.
Okay.
Let's take it down to 32 kilobytes.
I take it down to 32 KB. Okay.
When you go and the prospect is here, you're working out of the country. Usually we hold on to the things that we love and know and care about that are within our reach.
Yeah.
Family, friends, hangouts, and all sorts of things. The moment that first opportunity to go work out of Uganda came in, what did you have holding you back?
Nothing.
Not even a girlfriend?
Not even family. I never thought about it that way. I knew I'd gotten a chance of a lifetime to change the life of my family. So I wasn't looking at this as something that holds me back, but something better. Yeah, I leap forward, and that's exactly how I looked at it. I never looked at it as a problem. I only looked at it as a problem 7 years later, during my third year at Oracle. I'm based in Nairobi, my family is here. I'm very frustrated, I'm very unsettled. I'm really
You're always taking
I'm always coming home to be with my family for 4 days in a month, which was a bit of a stretch. Yeah, 4 days out of 30.
And you're talking about your family now, you're talking about your nuclear family.
Yeah, I'm talking about my nuclear family. The other, my extended family were only seeing me over Christmas and Easter. Yeah, so it took a toll on me. And luckily while I'm in Nairobi, Liquid Telecom then reached out to me. No, Liquid Telecom had already acquired Infocom, and they had a CEO here. So they want to reorganize a few things. They want to go in a different direction. And for some reason, again, thank God for people who look out for you. Somebody is having a conversation with a friend who says, we're looking for a CEO for Uganda. And they're like, look no more.
Right over there. I just need us to paint the picture of where that conversation could have been taking place. I swear to you, it wasn't in church.
Absolutely not.
It wasn't anywhere randomly on the street.
Absolutely
It possibly was on a bus stool somewhere in a club.
I can imagine either a bus stool or a coffee stool.
Or possibly a golf course.
Or maybe a golf course, yeah. But these were two ladies who were just having a random conversation. And this one says, okay, we've been hunting for quite a bit now and we can't seem to find the kind of person who will drive us in the direction we want to go to. And says, there is a guy and I don't have so many references. It's just that one guy. Talk to him and let me know how it goes. They talk to me and they say, well, we want you to manage our Uganda operation and anything. I would have done this job for free.
Just be back home.
So I took the first offer. I didn't even negotiate my salary. So sad.
Did you take a salary cut? Or the offer was so good?
No, I
to
think
resist?
it just met my earnings.
It met your bare minimum.
My bare minimum. The current earnings at Oracle then. That's what I accepted. I told them, okay, this is what I earn. If you guys match this and go, I won't negotiate this. It's not about you guys. Yeah, this is I can do what you guys want me to do, but you are a subset of this whole story. The real story is I want to be with my family. And, yeah.
Let's now take a reverse and just go back to the time you met Easy, marry her, and the jobs you were doing at that time, and how then the split, not of the family, but of physical presence comes in.
Okay, so I met Easy in 2008.
Okay, well, she would remember the day and the weather that day. I mean, let's not bother ourselves. We never remember these things as men.
No, the reason I remember...
You are doing so well, you remember the year.
The reason I remember this particular year is 2 weeks into my Huawei offer. Because I remember getting my letter and marrying her 2 weeks later. Yeah. I got my offer letter at Huawei. Then 2 weeks later,
you married her. Was the offer letter the reason you quickly expedited the marriage, or it was already planned?
I was ready to marry her the first day I saw her.
Yeah. I mean, I just imagine the Huawei letter and the zeros that were there.
Was her parents. Her parents were a bit traditional.
They were trying to do a background check on you.
Maybe a background check. There is not so much to check. I mean, I want to.
If they had done a thorough one, she wouldn't be your wife.
And that would have been a bad mistake.
Well, they took a nice gamble.
I think it was a good gamble. It was always a gamble. I always think marriage is a gamble. Ours is a gamble. A gamble which has worked perfectly. And I'm so happy for it.
Wow.
Now you know why Gambler was my first song.
You know when to, when not to.
Yeah.
So this 2008, you marry her, go through Huawei, and then get an opportunity to get out of the country, leave her very fresh in marriage and all that. Why didn't you carry her along with you?
I didn't carry her along with me because of the nature of the job. Like I told you, the first gig out of the country with Microsoft required me to be based out of Nairobi, managing Uganda and Rwanda.
So you were always dotting across, hopping from one country.
The best you can have is the weekend with me. Yeah. So which weekend I would probably be in Kampala with you, and then Sunday night or Monday morning I would fly to Nairobi, then fly to
the graveyard shift at 5 a.m. for the flight.
Yeah. So it was. That's the only reason why I didn't go with her. It's same thing with Oracle. Again, you're managing. You are based out of Nairobi, managing Kigali. So you are. My job required me to be on the flight at 6 a.m. on Monday morning and back 9 p.m. Friday night. Yeah. So when would I see the family? We built ourselves a beautiful house and.
In your absence?
No, during my presence here, before I left for Nairobi, we completed our house and they had a beautiful home to go to.
As opposed to leaving them in rentals and guys knocking on their doors.
Probably would have gone with them then.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
That's the point where we play your next song.
So my next chapter will get to what I call my pivot. A very strong Christian. Yeah, and that song would be The Reckless Love by Corey Abbott or something. It says the reckless love of God, which, I mean, it's not because you deserve that you get where you are, but God gets a bit reckless with his love. And clearly with my story, he's been very reckless with his love.
A recklessness that has worked perfectly well for you.
His recklessness always works perfectly, and God's recklessness. So Reckless Love will be my next song.
Wow, I love your choice of music already. On a wonderful Sunday evening such as this one, I think it's only apt that we play best music.
Thank you so much.
Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM.
All right, it's Desert Island Discs. A man who believes that God's recklessness in his love is the reason for what he is today is not a guy you want to take really for granted. But even more importantly, how he's been able to weave through the journey of life professionally and personally. Also, there is something that being a CEO doesn't come out of the blue. Dennis Kahindi.
Yes.
You now have a new assignment that has brought you back home. You reunite with your family, but also catch up with your peers and check out your country as it were. You had been away for some time. What surprises you in terms of things that have moved or hadn't moved, had stagnated, or hadn't even started to happen when you return?
What surprised me the most is I'm back home and everything that I had done over 5 years is literally all that I'd done over 5 years. So basically nothing had grown. And that's when...
Where you left it is where you found it.
Yeah.
Except the children now who are growing.
Except the children who had grown. And it was very frustrating for me because you realize that your absence means everything. Yeah. It's not about the money that you're making and what you're sending home. It's about you.
Your presence.
And driving a certain kind of vision. And I realized that that's exactly what the challenge was. That being away, a few pieces fell off the table. And I had to pick a few of those pieces. And I'm glad that in the 2 years that I've been back, yeah, I think we're back where we should have been 5 years ago. We are moving in the right direction.
Playing catch up and all that.
Lots of catch up. I think I'm done playing catch up. I think
now you are on steady state. You are.
We're kind of settled. We are beginning to do that kind of thing of
Uganda's economy.
Fellows who can do that. But yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
You can't whistle.
I can't whistle for money. I can't whistle for money.
Well, I thought only dogs don't whistle because they have got quite a wide mouth. Even you.
I can't try.
Oh my goodness. I thought every male adult actually can whistle.
No, some of us just don't have to whistle.
Okay, like can you click your finger?
Yeah, I don't have to. So
No, but like,
I can.
Okay, at least that you can
I can
do.
snap a finger. I can. That's easy.
Not even quite. But can you roll your tongue then?
No, why do I have to?
Okay, now let's agree, Dennis, here that you have a few disabilities.
Yes, I have a few disabilities. I don't deny that.
And that doesn't stop you from being a CEO. So the journey of leading a telecom company that's new in a market that has had what many people would regard as colossus. You know, colossus, like the one that denied you an opportunity because you were not married. And others. Breaking in there, didn't it seem like they were shackling you and throwing you in a boxing ring with the likes of Mike Tyson on the other side?
No, it wasn't. 2009, I had a friend of mine who was the vice president of Huawei in Uganda. That was called James Malebeke. Now, James told me, when he hired me at Huawei, told me, I don't look at you as a senior account manager at Huawei. I look at you as a chief executive officer for the accounts that you're managing. Carry yourself that way, dress up that way, behave that way, speak that way. And let's talk in 10 years.
I like guys who really do that kind of foresighted hire where, for the most part, the guys that employ us want us to remain there where we are entering at, and at best, take a few steps backwards. Because to move a step forward is to threaten their hold onto what they have as CEOs. What made this guy so special to behave that way?
I don't know. James was, I looked at his passport and I was shocked. Was a year younger than me. But he was the vice president of an international company.
So you were no threat whatsoever?
I was no threat whatsoever.
If anything, you would be an enemy.
The best Chinese that I've had an African speak.
Was he Ugandan?
He was Ugandan. James
He is?
Yes, he is Ugandan. He's right now working with Vodafone. So James, if you ever listen to this interview, I also want to say thank you. You're the guy who made me behave and feel like I can be. So I started to behave and act like a CEO in 2009.
What does that mean?
I started to fly at a certain altitude. I started to play golf while I was at Huawei. My first game of golf was with Mr. Kumalo, who was then the CEO of MTN. And I'd never held a golf club in my entire life, but here I was, playing with the CEO. And I started to kind of fly in that altitude. I started to dress the part. It was expensive buying suits, but I realized that you don't go to work without a suit.
But even more expensive is getting yourself a good golf kit
Yeah,
and wearing
yourself a
those
good
wonderful
there
gears.
were quite a few kits in at game then. They're not there anymore. Those kits are about $1 million shillings. The kits are more expensive lately. A set is about $8,000, a good one.
For your kind of handicap now.
Let's not talk about the kind I hold. Yeah, but I'm saying a good set. Yeah, but when you begin to create that mindset that I'm much, much bigger than where I think I am, yeah, or where I'm actually at, that's a totally a major game changer. Once I began to behave and believe that I'm a CEO, yeah, because of the words of this guy who is my mentor and my life coach and suddenly my referee, life started to fall into place. Every single role that I went for kept molding me into
that.
What I'm actually are.
And 10 years later, his prophecy comes to be.
His prophecy came to pass, and I called him and I said, James, we had this conversation, and now I'm CEO. I promised myself that I'm going to be CEO at 40. I was 6 months late. I was 40 at 6 months when I was appointed CEO. So I'm so glad I made it at 40. But
just to give you a bit of a Christian song that goes into that area, there's a new song that I love lately listening to, especially when I hit a snag and I think I'm being let down by the Creator, is He may be late, but He's always on time. Find that song and listen to it. I don't know which lady sang it, but she sang it so well.
He may be late, but He's always on time.
Very good. Find that song. Yeah, and it's a story around Lazarus. This guy had been dead and buried 3 days, and then the Messiah shows up. He says, Lazarus, get out. You don't look Excuse me.
Christianity.
There's so much about me that you do not know. One day we shall swap tables here.
I want to listen to your story. I've seen you being that so many times. I really want to hear your story.
No. Let's stay here.
Yes,
Let me concentrate on what I do best.
Yes.
But yes, and do you have, and be honest here, Dennis, do you have Dennis Kahindis that you are being unto the way this vice president was unto you?
Yes.
We're not asking you to tell us names.
Yes, I'm not going to mention names here. I started, there is a startup hub. I don't know whether I call it a startup anymore because it's been here about 10 years now. It's called Outbox Hub. I'm a founder of Outbox Hub, and the reason behind that vision was to create as many not Dennis Kahindis, but better versions of creating better versions of people. Yeah, through
Pro Max,
yeah,
and all the others.
And
Dennis Kahindi,
yeah,
plus
all the others.
Dennis Kahindi Pro Max,
Yes,
not Dennis Kahindi Light.
Yes, not Dennis Kahindi Light, but Dennis Kahindi Light would also be good.
Especially if it's compared with the other beers that are light.
Yeah, trust me, it would also be good. But at my workplace, I always look out for people, and the guys who I try to be that for. Unfortunately, the mindset of many of us is we get into a job and you can't dream or think beyond that job. And that frustrates me among the people that I employ. When I employ you to do just your job, and you do just your job, I hate to pay people for just what they do.
To be
I want to feel like
there.
I'm underpaying you. When I feel like I'm underpaying you, then you're doing the kind of thing that I want. Those are the
Not
kind of
to
people
ask
that I
questions
want.
of, are you even worth the pain?
Yes,
I'm
it
giving
wouldn't
you?
last long with me if I had to ask that question. So that's the other rough bit of me. If I have to ask that question, then suddenly you're on your way out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you are the kind of guy that gets things really done the hard way, take the hard decisions and live with them.
Let's just say things get done. I wouldn't say I'm the kind of guy. I just say things get done. Things will get done.
I want to ask you what your targets are and how you intend to hit them and all that, but clearly you're on the right trajectory. Now let's get down to getting to know you a little bit more. Now we know you spend quite a bit of your time playing a bit of golf when you have the moment, but you certainly have a favorite dish.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. My favorite dish is interestingly kalo. Kalo and a bit of a shabwe and that normal boiled chicken. I'm just thinking about it and I'm thinking, what am I having for lunch today? Suddenly not that, but yeah, that's my favorite dish. So,
Clearly you are from Cabo, eh?
absolutely. From Shema.
how best would you love to wash down that meal? Certainly not with chicken soup.
Certainly not with chicken soup. I never wash down my meals with my
favorite drink.
My favorite drink. But when I'm having my favorite drink, I want to. Yeah, I love my drinks malt. I love them aged. Yeah, and I don't like them immature. So anything above 18 years, if it's a single malt, I love it.
No blends.
No, I don't like blends.
You hate it with...
I'll do it when I visit.
And there's no other choice.
Yeah.
With some rocks or neat?
No, I do my stuff neat. Totally neat.
Wow, I did something that we share in common. So after here, let's let's arrange a conversation around that. Some things get you really happy and give you a hearty laugh. What are some of those?
There's three things that I mean, outside of the cliche stuff of being with my kids and stuff like that. I mean, that's standard. That's natural. That's standard. I don't like to do cliche. But the things that pull me out in my element, the service to Rotary. I'm a Rotarian, member of Kampala South, and I love it. I love just that service to Rotary, just feeling that you don't have so much, but you give some of your time away, you give some of what you have away. You
are the nth Rotarian I'm having seated on that chair, and I keep telling every Rotarian who tells me about their service above self and nice and all. And then you always strike that chord in me that actually makes me realize that I'm not yet kind enough to be a member of Rotary.
No, I wouldn't say that.
So in your free time, when you are looking at how and when to recruit a new member, think about rogues like myself.
No, Rotary is full of rogues.
Okay,
there are normal people. That's what I'm trying to say. You and I are rogues. So we are
okay, I'm a rogue Pro Max.
Oh, you're rogue Pro Max. Okay, now that's different. You might not last long in Rotary. Yeah, so Rotary is one of those things. Two is golf. I love to play a round of golf. Just hitting that ball just takes away so much. In terms of stress, trouble, and you're competing against yourself, and you love to beat yourself every once in a while. You don't do that so often on the golf course, but when you do, it's such an exciting feeling.
What handicap are you? I need to challenge you.
I'm at 12.
Okay, that's not a bad one. See, since you're still single digit, we can play around one of these days.
Absolutely.
You don't ask me what mine is.
I won't ask.
Yeah, but as you can see, I am totally handicapped.
You're totally handicapped. But I think I can imagine what your handicap is.
It's not in its 30s, eh?
No. I'm sure when you're recruited, it was in the 28s. So I'm not sure it has moved much. I would know if it's that.
You have a good guess now.
Yeah.
What are the things that get you really worked up? Well, we just got to know one of those earlier on. People who just have no ambition beyond
just don't get it. Yeah. The other thing is, I get worked up when I see things that I think are basic, things that we can change, just staying the same. Lately, I keep cussing when I'm driving to work because our roads are back to the state where they were 15 years ago. And I'm like, do we need MOCC for our roads to be fine? Yeah. Why can't we have
continuous
leadership? It's really around leadership. You can't tell me it's the rains. Yeah. We can do much better.
Now that you've come into that direction, Dennis, and we just had an inauguration of a new president and a new government, and do you also suffer the frustration to the extent, and we're not getting really political, but I'm just asking as a citizen, that we have incredible Ugandans making things happen and earning huge bucks for all these multinationals and local enterprises that are growing from, $100 into millions of dollar enterprises over a very short period of time. And all these are CEO'd by Ugandans like yourself. And when it comes to the public good, we also have Ugandans that are degrading and bastardizing basic public service delivery.
I agree. We were having this conversation yesterday with a couple of friends of mine over
a game of golf.
And we said, unless our leadership, and I'm talking about the political leadership, begin to run government as a business, we're never going to get out of this. Yeah.
How will they get
run as a business? Look at the example of Singapore. Yeah, Singapore's government is run as a business. It's not politics.
The president, the prime minister is a CEO.
Yeah, the prime minister is a CEO. Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta tried that, and trust me, there's been a huge change. The political class is looked down on, because the guys who understand what to do are running the business of the things that need to be done. Yeah, you have doctors running the Ministry of Health, engineers running the Ministry of Works, and you're giving them standard KPIs and running a government as a business. And
right over there.
yeah.
No. Let's not even bastardize the conversation right there. I think what is in it for me here in what you've said is giving them standard KPIs and holding them accountable.
Yes, but
because
you don't hold politicians accountable, because that they have a constituency that they're protecting.
Yeah, but you should. I mean, you talked about degrading roads in the capital.
They have no reason to be held accountable.
That whose leadership is deputized by and celebrated civil engineer. We were supposed to be talking about your life story. I think we're getting carried away. And that's to show you the
work me up. That's what works me up, so that kind of
you could get worked up by some of those things, and that's why we shared the anger and then got angry and veered off. But on a good day, if you want to get marooned, I'm not playing a game of golf, of course, but this is a beautiful country, Uganda. So where would you love to be marooned for a moment? I will ask you what you take with you. I know you'll go with your 18-year, 24-year-old single malt, but where? And why?
Where would I love to go? Uganda is a beautiful country. There's lots of places that I haven't been. I would imagine that life in Chidepo would be as raw as it gets. So I would love to go to Kidepo and just spend a weekend, maybe a week of just looking at the game up there, the people up there, and just enjoying Mother Nature.
Until you come face to face with a lion.
And that kind of love. I haven't had a face to face with a lion. Yeah, but I would love.
You have lived long enough to tell the story after that.
I hope I am one of those few. I'm one of those few. Yeah.
Dennis Kahindi, it's been a pleasure having you on the program. It's been a pleasure listening into your life story. And you could have been doing anything else, playing a round of golf or an evening, but you are here. For the listeners and viewers, we can't take your presence for granted. Again, you could have been anywhere doing anything, but you're here listening to the program. If you've missed this conversation and just joining us right now, don't worry. YouTube got you covered. Subscribe to our channel and play back and get to know this incredible life story. And I bet you'll be inspired to be tomorrow's CEO. But if you, from that story, don't get inspired, maybe finding out where Dennis is and storming his office, just like he stormed different places in pursuit of jobs and career growth and development and money, you will find him and he will take you a stride ahead. We thank you. And let's meet same time, same place next Sunday with yet another incredible life story.
Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM. Desert Island Discs on 91.3 Capital FM.